Hey y'all, how's everybody doing? Come on in, come on in. I apologize for being late. As usual, real life takes place sometimes, right? So yes, come on in, y'all. Um, greetings. I hope everybody's day is going well. Mine has been a little up and down, but I'm breathing and I'm here and all is well. So I thank God for the small blessings, right? And the big ones. So come on in, y'all. Kelvin, hey, Kelvin. Thank you for being here. Miss Kodak Black in the house. I appreciate y'all. Um, there's a lot going on. And, sometimes I feel like I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, right? But in order to be able to provide any type of solutions, you got to know that there's a problem or that there is a need for a solution, right? So, with that being said, we've got, as to be expected, we've had a lot of expectations and things that have coming down the pike and that are coming down the pike and that are here as a result from these open borders. And as my thumbnail says again, why are the borders open? Why are they unregulated? Um, we are not a very popular country. We're not extremely liked by many, right? Including many power sources in the world. So, why are these borders open? Why are they so hell bent on having things unregulated? People coming in as they please, not really enforcing ports of entry. I knew something was going on when you had Texas. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, and the current administration going toe to toe, right? So, yeah, there's a concerted effort for a lot of people to come in here with no documentation, no regulation, no tracking, no accountability. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because now gangs have surfaced. Crime is through the roof. A lot of scrambling, a lot of chaos, a lot of disorganization, a lot of crime, a lot of drugs being brought. Not to mention, a lot of people don't like to say the word trafficking, but they go hand in hand, if you ask me, right? So there's a video I would like to share. I have a couple sources, but there's one that I thought was very telling, and very descriptive, and we're going to kind of go through that in regards as to the gang activity that has surfaced and that is really, really showing its ugly head in New York City, or the state of New York, right? So give me a second and we're going to jump right off into it. Let's see. Boom, boom.
Brother, Jose Antonio. Many of them caught stealing in order to pay for fake IDs to gain employment.
Migrants looking for fast cash to get a job can wind up as pawns in a criminal operation.
A Venezuelan gang called Tren de Aragua has made its way to the borderland.
This rapidly expanding gang has spread throughout South America and now into our communities.
Transnational criminal organization known as the Tren de Aragua is a Venezuelan gang that has now infiltrated its way into the United States through various sectors of the U.S.-Mexico border.
A new migrant gang has successfully infiltrated the United States. Their operations have remained shrouded in secrecy, and the presence of this gang has sparked fear. As details emerge, the true extent of their reach and influence is becoming clearer, painting a grim picture of the challenges ahead. The authorities are on high alert, implementing measures to track down and apprehend members of this dangerous gang.
The presence of Tren de Aragua in New York City, we're seeing all these brazen cell phone robberies where two guys on a moped will go onto a sidewalk in Manhattan and they will steal a cell phone out of the hands.
Two of the suspects in this case are members of a brutal Venezuelan gang. That gang is called Tren de Aragua.
According to reports, approximately 1,000 gang members successfully escaped following a prison break at Takaran Prison in September 2023. Among the escapees are believed to be members of the Tren de Aragua gang, including their leader, Hector Rustanford Guerrero Flores, and 80 other high-ranking gang members. Interpol has issued a warning that Guerrero Flores may be hiding in the United States. The criminal syndicate is engaged in various illicit activities, such as thefts, narcotics trade, illicit money transactions, and human smuggling across South America. Law enforcement agencies...
Okay, so, first of all, why wouldn't they come here? Good morning, Alexandra. Hey, 2 equals 1. Thank y'all for coming on in. Salute to you, EJ. Peace and blessings to everybody. So we're actually just getting off into the content, and the content is talking about gang-related activity and some of the risks that definitely have been anticipated with these open, unregulated borders. That I can't help but feel has been intentional. And now we're at a point where it's culminating and it's coming to a head, and that it's starting to really surface and do what it was designed to do. So we're talking about a particular gang that has really gained attention. And they are coming in by the droves, y'all. So now New York City is having these issues where people are getting arrested, but they're not requiring any bail. They're releasing them back into general population or back into society, and with no consequences. So where does that leave the citizens of these sanctuary cities? And in particular, we're speaking on New York City today, or the state of New York, right? Because it's not going to be just confined to one city. This is definitely going to just evolve as a huge, huge issue and problem and a crisis. And I feel that we are currently at that point, to be totally honest. So let's continue. So now the head of this gang, they suspect, is in New York. And that would explain the expansion, the such fast expansion of the presence of this gang in New York City, and how they're terrorizing the citizens of New York. So I just want to continue, because this is pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to add a little commentary and just interject at times with some thoughts, because this is a lot, y'all. Okay.
Caution that the organization is seeking to broaden its global influence. Presently, they possess an extensive operational network spanning multiple countries in South America, including Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Chile. It is interesting to know that when 11,000 soldiers raided Venezuela's Takaran prison in September, they were met with something far from a typical correctional facility. Instead, they stumbled upon what resembled a corporate headquarters and a theme park for the notorious Tren de Aragua gang. The criminals had constructed a pool for swimming, an area for children's play, a court for food, a field for baseball, a bar, a disco, a shop for betting, and even a zoo, while accommodating hundreds of their wives, children, and girlfriends. This establishment served as their headquarters for engaging in criminal activities. In exchange for order, officials allow them to do whatever they want. The authorities expressed concern over the possibility of these gangs collaborating with other criminal organizations in New York, causing widespread chaos, exposing America to various criminal activities, or instigating...
Okay, I want to go back, because I don't know if we really heard them right. This is the penal institution of Aragua in Venezuela. And this is what their organization looks like in the penal system. So I saw a picture or a clip of a kids park, a water park, I'm sorry.
With something far from a typical correctional facility. Instead, they stumbled upon what resembled a corporate headquarters and a theme park for the notorious Tren de Aragua gang. The criminals had constructed a pool for swimming, an area for children's play, a court for food, a field for baseball, a bar, a disco, a shop for betting, and even a zoo, while accommodating hundreds of their wives, children, and girlfriends. This established...
Okay, so these people got a zoo. They have a theme park. They have a water park. And this is the penal institution. And the head of the organization of the Trade de El Aragua gang is suspected to be taking up residence currently in our country in New York City when he has this much power in a whole nother country. That's alarming. Let's continue. And this is supposed to be the cell. Listen, I don't know why he came over here. If he got it like that over in Venezuela, then why didn't he stay there? Good question. Let's continue.
Establishment served as their headquarters for engaging in criminal activities. In exchange for order, officials allow them to do whatever they want. The authorities expressed concern over the possibility of these gangs collaborating with other criminal organizations in New York, causing widespread chaos, exposing America to various criminal activities, or instigating violent territorial conflicts between gangs. The Tren de Aragua gang, also recognized as TDA, has infiltrated various states including New York City, Texas, Florida, Illinois, and Georgia. Many TDA members like to wear Chicago Bulls basketball clothes, even though they don't have anything to do with Chicago or the Bulls. Not only does this gang rob, they have been trained to be hitmen.
Gang members. Law enforcement says they are infiltrating cities in the United States and maybe forming alliances with gangs that are already established here.
Okay, so let's dissect that for a moment. Welcome to everybody that's coming in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all. Good day. Peace and blessings to everybody. So I saw a map and they're talking about the various cities that they are definitely circulating and taking up residence in.
Between gangs. The Tren de Aragua gang, also recognized as TDA, has infiltrated various states including New York City, Texas, Florida, Illinois, and Georgia.
So these seem to all be sanctuary cities, right? You're talking about Georgia, Florida, Chicago, New York. That's a lot, y'all. Okay, so no, let's continue. I want to get a good picture of exactly what their capabilities are here in this country. Even though we have gangs, I'm not saying that we don't already have our existing issues and troubles here, but inviting, this is a whole different culture, a whole different country, a whole different mindset, a whole different barometer of what is perceived as violence, a whole different set of boundaries that will be crossed, what lengths they will go to when they don't feel like they have the ability to be made to suffer consequences, to be incarcerated, to be held accountable. Most of these people have false IDs, if they have any ID at all. But even in conjunction with that, the court system seems to not be interested because they are recirculating and releasing these people back into civilization and back into these sanctuary cities with nothing more than a court date. There are no consequences. There's no bail. These people don't have to post bail. They're more organized than what they were 20 years ago. That's concerning. That is seriously concerning. But they're showing you just in the short period of time, they've had time to organize, plan, and prepare. They watch our government. They watch how we move. They watch how this country operates. And a lot of them, and allegedly, I will say for the sake of YouTube and fair use, that they have some type of relation. A lot of them have some type of relationship with members of our government. Let's continue.
TDA members like to wear Chicago Bulls basketball clothes, even though they don't have anything to do with Chicago or the Bulls. Not only does this gang rob, they have been trained to be hitmen.
Gang members. Law enforcement says they are infiltrating cities in the United States and maybe forming alliances with gangs that are already established here.
A 23-year-old Yerwin Salazar, a migrant from Venezuela who lives in South Florida, has been charged with taking the life of Jose Luis Sanchez Valera, who is a retired police officer.
Alleged member and a Venezuelan migrant is now being charged with murder of a retired Venezuelan police officer in South Florida.
As stated in a Miami-Dade police report, Sanchez departed from his residence at approximately 10 p.m. on November 27th. He proceeded to the La Quinta Inn Hotel and Suites located at 3501 NWW 42 Ave to rendezvous with a woman in room 310. After spending 4 hours in the room, he exited and descended to the lobby via the elevator, where he was accompanied by two women. While the women proceeded to the lobby, Sanchez exited the hotel through a side exit that led to the parking lot. Upon entering his car, 3 unidentified individuals wearing dark clothing emerged from a silver sedan parked close to the Sanchez's vehicle. They proceeded to physically remove Sanchez from the driver's seat and forcefully placed him in the back seat. Shortly after, surveillance cameras captured Sanchez's 2018 Toyota 4Runner, leaving the parking lot with the 3 unknown individuals and Sanchez in the back seat. The Toyota later returned to the parking lot, and one of the attackers exited the vehicle and entered the silver sedan that the kidnappers had left near the victim's car. At approximately 3:40 a.m. on November 28th, the police received a report regarding an armed home invasion at a Doral apartment, which was later identified as Sanchez's residence. 2 male individuals, armed with a firearm, forcibly entered the apartment and demanded jewelry from the roommate of the victims. After successfully obtaining a safe from the victim's bedroom closet, the subjects fled the scene in a silver sedan that matched the description of a silver sedan seen at La Quinta Inn Hotel. When leaving, one of the subjects informed Sanchez's roommate that they were affiliated with Tren de Aragua. Sanchez was discovered hours later in his vehicle, his body, hands, and feet tied with tape. The autopsy revealed that the cause of death was mechanical asphyxia, leading to the ruling of homicide. Evidence found in the vehicle indicated that Salazar was involved in the abduction of Sanchez. Salazar was apprehended in Broward County and brought to Miami-Dade Court to answer to charges including armed home invasion, carjacking, and kidnapping. He is presently detained without bond. It doesn't end there.
New details tonight.
Okay, so these people are brazen and bold enough to actually assault police officers. Whether the police officers, whatever capacity that they're in, they're emboldened. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're not ID'd properly, or that they are intentionally going through the system with anonymity, right? And the ability to be able to pretty much do what they want to do with protection and immunity here in this country. Now, last time I checked, if one of the citizens of this country killed and unalived a police officer, there are extreme consequences. Extreme consequences. So why is it that the system that we are in is allowing people to come to this country through open borders in gang affiliation and absolutely terrorize one another, terrorize the citizens? And not only that, but to add insult to injury, our taxpayers' money is funding them being here, providing them with resources, providing them with housing, providing them with sustenance, their daily needs. This is a lot, right? So welcome in everybody that's coming in. Philly 2K, T Smith, welcome, peace and blessings. Hey, Miss Yo, thank you for coming in. Miss Chicago in the house. All right, y'all. So yeah, we're talking about how these open borders are progressing, and what we can actually expect and anticipate with the times to come if nothing changes and we still allow everyone to come in here undocumented and do what they want. Don't have to post bail. They go through the court system, they get a court hearing, and they go back out on the streets to continue what they were doing before they got picked up. With a lot of them there's a huge market, especially in the sanctuary cities, for false IDs, fake passports, and they're very reasonable. And then you have our taxpayers' money that is going into their hands to be able to basically keep that anonymity and to give them continuous permission to go out here and do what they do out on these streets, terrorizing, stealing, just really causing havoc on the civilians of these particular sanctuary cities. So thank you for the Cash App, y'all. Appreciate you. Hey, Russell Red, thank you for being here. Dry, yes, amen. Peace. I hope so. I know it's not a very lightning topic, but let me tell you, we have families. We have people that we love. We've got grandchildren. Some of us have grandchildren. If not, we have nieces and nephews. We have children that we mentor if we don't have children of our own. What is it looking like for them at this point? Y'all, that it wrenches my heart, because it's like, where is the powers that be? Where is their concern for the people that built this country, that sustain this country, that keep this country going, that keeps it circulating, it seems like they have turned on the civilians and the citizens of this country. They're not looking out for our best interests, not by making moves like this. And now we have people that are coming across the borders emboldened and with drugs, human trafficking, objectives, systems in place, plans that they have established in their own country. And so they're once they cross the border, all they have to do is implement them and move. Most people that come over here don't have anything to lose and everything to gain. So they're going to make it count. They're going to make their actions matter. And this is what is going on currently and has been for months. And by the time the media starts really circulating the news, by that time, it's already a problem. It's already an issue. So, with that being said, let's continue.
About the two Ibarra brothers. We're learning one of them may be connected to a ruthless gang.
Not known that Jose Ibarra was a member of the violent Venezuelan criminal gang Tren de Aragua when he entered the country illegally initially.
Diego Ibarra, brother of the illegal immigrant accused of brutally taking the life of Laken Riley, is connected to the dangerous Tren de Aragua Venezuela gang. Diego Ibarra, age 29, had previously been arrested and accused of having a counterfeit green card when he presented it to the authorities during their search for his brother. During the investigation, Homeland Security discovered images of Diego displaying the gang's hand gestures on the internet, as well as distinctive tattoos such as stars, clocks, trains, weapons, and crowns. To make things worse, additional photographs of him posing with firearms were discovered on the internet, even though individuals residing in the United States without legal documentation are prohibited from possessing firearms. He was granted release from immigration detention while awaiting the resolution of his asylum claim on April 30th, 2024. 1 month later, he reportedly removed his ankle monitor, which had been placed on him by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The monitor was later discovered in Colorado, but by then, Diego had already reached Athens, Georgia. During his time in Georgia, Diego encountered law enforcement on several occasions, facing numerous DUI charges, allegations of stealing his girlfriend's phone, and reportedly engaging in shoplifting at 2 separate Walmart locations. He was arrested again after he matched the description of his brother, who took the life of a nursing student on the UGA campus. On February 22nd, Laken Riley, a 22-year-old Augusta University student, was tragically beaten to death by his younger brother, Jose Antonio Ibarra, age 26. He is accused of brutally attacking her with an unidentified object. Riley's remains were discovered later that day within the University of Georgia campus, located in a wooded section near Lake Herrick, where many runners and walkers frequent the trails. Riley's demise was a result of severe injuries caused by a brutal physical assault, leading to blunt force trauma and a severely disfigured skull.
Okay, so this is one of the really big methods that they're using in order to gain power, sustain themselves financially, is through theft, right? So we're not just talking about the stores closing, which they have monumental malls that are closing right now. And I'm not saying that the open borders are a direct correlation or effect of that, but I definitely feel like it has played a factor. Without a shadow of a doubt, because statistics and the data states that the crime has escalated since the borders have been open at an alarming rate. But there's also a method of them actually snatching cell phones out of people's hands while they're on the phone for the reason that the phones are unlocked and it gives them access to all of their personal information. So what they're doing is they're keeping the phones unlocked after they snatch them. And they're doing it like a lot on mopeds or motorcycles, and they're dragging these people because they don't want to let go of those devices because, of course, naturally it holds a lot of personal information, right? And they are getting it to a hub, and then they're scrubbing the information. Oh, and it gets better. So once they get the information for the black market off of the phones, credit card numbers, bank accounts, whatever they find valuable, because I'm not a scammer and I'm not a fraud specialist. So I don't know how or what specifically they're looking for. But then once they scrub the phone, then they send the phones to be remanufactured to go back out there and be sold to people on the black market as well. Interesting, right? Crafty. And we're talking about people walking or standing outside, making a phone call and being put at risk, right? So, no, this is real life. This is what is really going on. I'm going to say I encourage, and I know that it is much easier said than done, but I know a lot of content creators and people that have a voice have been saying that these sanctuary cities, it would be beneficial if people that live there or were residents there really sought to get out of these cities. There are no immediate solutions to this growing problem because guess what? At the end of the day, the borders are still open and these people are still coming over in droves. But the focus has shifted from that on the media and on the news outlets to what's going on American soil and on American turf. And this is problematic. So we have people that have had concussions. We've had a few deaths at just merely as a person snatching a cell phone or trying to take some personal effects off of someone else that doesn't belong to them. And they don't care how they do it and how far they have to go in order to obtain that goal. We must treat everyone as a suspect. Pay attention to your surroundings. I'm telling you, listen, Miss Yo, this is a lot, right? And so now it's coming to surface where like this young lady was, I think they said she was in a park. So now they're targeting civilians that they feel are unarmed and vulnerable. They know exactly what to do, where to go, and who to target. Please, if you can, don't go places alone, especially at night. If you absolutely have to go out at night, you should be in numbers. If not, you really need to be trying to avoid doing that. And that's not just in sanctuary cities, that's everywhere, because it's only a matter of time before they filtrate into places that are not sanctuary cities and don't support their movement. They will move and they will go where they feel that they need to go. Definitely. Let's continue.
To conceal his evil deed, Jose attempted to hide the incident by moving her lifeless body to an isolated location. The reason for killing her? Nothing. In September 2022, Jose Ibarra entered the USA illegally through...
Okay, I don't want to go past that. When they asked the man why he killed her, they got nothing. They got nothing. So she died for nothing? That's where we at? Let's continue.
El Paso, Texas, but was subsequently released from a detention facility due to overcrowding. He is facing multiple charges for the demise of Lake and Riley, and he was granted no bail.
Investigators say Clara would send out messages via WhatsApp, telling the group what to steal.
The activities of the illicit empire know no bounds. They are now involved in so many cases of phone robbery across New York City. Another Tren de Aragua gang member, Victor Parra, a 30-year-old from Venezuela, is on the run. He has been identified as the mastermind behind a gang of criminals who use mopeds as their means to steal mobile phones and wallets in New York City. Parra utilizes WhatsApp to send messages to enlist his partners in crime. In this message, he clearly states the specific phone models he needs. His main focus for recruitment is newly arrived immigrants. These criminals focus on women who are walking alone, coming up from behind to swiftly snatch their phones or handbags before making a quick escape. The stolen phones are brought to Parra's residence, where a skilled technician hacks into them to gain access to the victim's financial and banking applications. Subsequently, these applications are utilized to carry out fraudulent transactions in the United States and Central America. The stolen phones are taken to Colombia to be wiped off any data. Upon searching Parra's residence, law enforcement uncovered 22 stolen phones and identification documents that belong to the victims. Investigators have apprehended a total of 5 individuals. It is uncertain to determine safety, as the gangs expand their networks recruiting teenagers and giving rise to teen crimes.
Over the shooting in Times Square, he is now being charged as an adult.
The news of Alejandro Rivas Figueroa has sent communities reeling, questioning their safety, because these Tren de Aragua members have no respect for the law or police force. Jesus Alejandro.
And that's important to note because that's apparent by their behavior. It's apparent that they have no respect and that they have no consideration for law enforcement or for anybody else. And personally, because of the number of attacks on police officers from these individuals are hitting the media, that means that it's multiplied, and that you can definitely bank that it's on the rise and that it's intentional, right? To send a message, because if you can take down, or that you can basically disarm or make look weak the police system or the officers or the law enforcement agencies that we have in place, then everybody else is vulnerable. It sends a message, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. It now everybody is on notice. And isn't it interesting how all of a sudden, in correlation and at the same time all of this has happened during this administration, we don't have money for police officers to hire in a majority. As a matter of fact, in a lot of places they have laid off, they have deleted, um, what do they call it? Parts of the organization, sectors, or I'm at a loss, but just certain departments of law enforcement, they've laid off or they have deleted, or both, right? So now we have, like where I live, the only time you see a police officer is after something has happened. It's not preventative anymore. It's not to calm a situation or to de-escalate a situation. It is after the situation has culminated and taken place, and now they're coming to clean up or they're coming to make a report. And that's pretty much kind of where we're at. Welcome to everybody coming into the stream. Hey, Ron D, thank you for being here. Hey, Whoopi. Whoopi Rock is in the building. Thank y'all. Appreciate you. So we're going through this particular video, referencing a really prominent gang that has come across, and they're gaining momentum, power, resources, and therefore, because they're empowered now, they're attacking civilians, they're attacking law enforcement, they are unaliving people. They are also, which is not notated in this particular video, they are also bullying people and squatting out of their homes so they can squat inside their homes. It's a whole system going on. And like Easy Did It said earlier, they're very organized and very strategic, and they're very calculated on how they're doing things. And when you combine those aspects with a lack of moral compass or a lack of empathy and just no soul, that's a dangerous combination that yields disaster when it's all said and done. Y'all, we have to be aware of what's going on around us. Even if we're not living in these cities currently, it's going to eventually filter over to a city near you, if not your city. If you don't have loved ones, or if you don't have family that is being directly affected, thank God up above, and thank your lucky stars that this is not hit home yet, or that hopefully it will not. I rebuke it. I am just saying this is really what is going on, while sometimes we lose sight of things that don't directly affect us, or that we don't feel are super powerful or important, but until it hits your front step. But I want to do my part in saying this is some stuff that we really need to keep our eyes open and look out for and prepare. Please exercise your Second Amendment right. Please, whether you believe in it or you don't just allow you and your family to be totally vulnerable without any means of protection. I don't care where you live. You should be going to somebody in your home, if not everybody, including the children, in my personal opinion, should be going to the gun range. You should have enough ammo on deck. You should be implementing other means of protecting your home as well, or your family, as you go around in your whereabouts. Go in numbers. Always be aware of your surroundings. If you can get a CCW, I don't know if they call that in various states different names, but carrying concealed. those classes are extremely, extremely effective and powerful in giving you not just tools, but the confidence to utilize those tools if need be. Because by the time that situation pops off and you're not prepared, it's already too late, right? By any means necessary. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's continue.
Rivas Figueroa, a 15-year-old boy, was caught shoplifting at a sporting store in Times Square. He was with two other people when a store employee noticed them holding a bag filled with clothes and sneakers. The employee asked them for a receipt, but they couldn't provide one. So the employee took the bag back and started asking the boys more questions. This is when he made a bad move. Out of nowhere, the teenager dressed in all white, Rivas Figueroa, takes out a powerful .45 caliber handgun and shoots at the police officer. Shockingly, he also fires at the crowd. Thankfully, the officer narrowly avoids getting hit by the bullet. Tragically, a 37-year-old Brazilian tourist, who was patiently waiting in line to purchase sneakers, gets struck in the knee and suffers injuries. The entire crowd becomes terrified, and pandemonium breaks loose inside the store as people start running and hiding in fear. He was able to...
So you can't even go to the mall or to a public store anymore to be in line to purchase something without being assaulted at the very least, right? What in the world is going on? And why is it being allowed? Why is this being permitted? How are we here? How are we here? And as a people, collectively, we're not utilizing our voices in changing this situation. All of the power does not lie in the upper echelons of people. We were made to believe that, whether it's because it hasn't hit our front step yet, or we're in fear because of strongholds that we in our minds feel that we have over our lives. But I'm telling you, I can't imagine if they claimed the world is overpopulated, quote unquote, overpopulated, right? Then why is it that things are going the way that it's going, but collectively we're not utilizing our voices? It's really, really, it's mind-boggling to me. One person can't do it, and it's going to take a collective. But we're not at that point. It seems that I don't know what it's going to take, and hopefully it doesn't become too late, right? So, but yeah, you can't even go shopping comfortably in public during the daylight anymore, and particularly in certain areas. Like the biggest mall downtown in New York City, they are closing down. And I want to say, I don't know if it's April of 2025, everything will be closed, but they're going to be doing it in increments because of the theft, because of the violence, the uptick in violence, the crime, people actually, just hanging around, lowering the ability for people to want to even go into. It's a turnoff for people to even go into those stores, because now you don't know who you're around, you don't know how vulnerable you are, and you can't really enjoy yourself or concentrate on shopping because you're so aware of your surroundings, and now you're paranoid, and now you don't feel safe. And so, but again, like look at Amazon during the pandemic, right? When everybody was at home, made him the richest man in the world. What was that? What was that, a test run? So, and it doesn't seem like a lot of these corporations are really objecting, or they're taking issue with having to close down these stores. I wonder why. Just asking. Let's continue.
To escape from the police on 6th Avenue, but before he got away, he shot at the police officer who was chasing him. This was dangerous because there were a lot of people around, and any of those bullets could have seriously hurt or even killed an innocent person. That's why the police officer couldn't shoot back at the 15-year-old, because there were too many people nearby. He ran to a subway station and went back to his house, where he and his mom started packing up their stuff to leave the city. The criminal was found hiding in a closet at a residence in Yonkers, New York. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time Rivas Figueroa has committed a crime in New York City. He is believed to have been part of an...
Look how young he looks. Look how young he looks. Look how young they train them and bring them up with that mindset, with that training, with that way of life. They start them off super young. So guess what, parents that have children, whether you're in high school, middle school, or elementary school, they all have their issues and they're all vulnerable, right? Hey, lovely. Salute to you, Miss Collins. Hey, sis. What's going on with you? Thank you for being here. And anybody that I might have missed, we're just talking about the migrant gangs in New York City and how much control and power they have accumulated in a very short amount of time. How they're single-handedly wreaking havoc and really assaulting innocent civilians for gain, right? Yes, absolutely. Miss Yo Thought says, notice that the majority of them are coming over here young. We keep saying that they're military age. I noticed that immediately when all of these pictures, all of this footage, I was like, where are the women and children? Very rarely do you see them. All you see is young men coming from all of these different countries. One makes you wonder why, right? Let's continue.
An armed robbery in the Bronx on Jan 27th. And also the incident on Jan 25th where gunshots were fired at a park on 45th Street. He faced multiple charges as an adult and was detained without bail. Another teen from Venezuela, Andres Gomez Izquiel, was taken into custody in connection with the attack on 2 police officers. He faced charges of second.
Another young one that had enough gumption, enough confidence to jump on 2 police officers. Come on, y'all. We can't be walking around here asleep.
Degree assault on a police officer and obstructing governmental administration. After being arrested not too long ago, Andres Gomez Izquiel got arrested once more for supposedly stealing from a store and hurting a Macy's worker in Queens. He was with a gang that took $600 worth of clothes from the store, and he even punched the employee who was trying to catch them. The worker only got minor injuries from the incident. The violent nature of this gang has made people concerned. On January 27th, a camera caught some guys and 2 cops having a calm chat, but things took a turn for the worse when the officers tried to arrest one of the guys. It got violent real quick, starting with a kick to an officer's head. Later, a bunch of guys jumped in and started attacking the officers who were already on the ground. They kept punching and kicking them over and over again. 2 days later, they managed to catch 5 out of the 7 suspects. They arrested Yohenry Brito, the main suspect during the investigation of 2 police fights. He got bail for $15,000, and guess what? A priest paid for it. Authorities are
a priest paid this man's bail. Actually, I'm surprised to hear that he got bail. There are felons. There are people committing, these migrants are committing felonies that are walking straight out of the courthouse with nothing but a court hearing, not having they don't have to post bail for their crimes or their alleged crimes. Yes, let's continue.
Tense now and are quickly finding a solution to get rid of this gang. Its move is met with difficulties. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE sources have said that it's really hard to send Venezuelan gang members back to their country because Venezuela doesn't want them back. Despite having 335,000 encounters at the border, they have successfully deported only 834.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, right? So they come over here. This is why I'm furious with where we live at this point and how I, in my personal opinion, don't feel as if the civilians or the citizens of this country that comprise and make this country up is actually being considered or cared for in any way, shape, or form, right? So these countries are allowing or sending their people over here and saying, okay, well, they can't come back. They're technically citizens and natives of that land that they left, whether it's Venezuela, whether it's Mexico, doesn't matter where it's Haiti, it's all the same. If you're born there and you are a native of that land, how is it that these places are saying you can't come back? You can't come back. This picture is huge. It's a lot bigger than the voting base. I once, it makes sense because I once watched a podcast. This was a couple of years ago. I think we're like at the end of the pandemic, or it was toward the end, right? And I heard someone in capacity say that our country, that the United States of America was the last country needed to fall in order to implement the NWO. And that really, it resonated and disturbed my soul when I heard it, to the point where I still remember it 2 years later. right? And now it all is making sense. Ron D says, my question is, where is Homeland Security? They always someplace where they really don't have any business being, but here at home we can't shop. Explain that. We just asking. We just asking. All of our tax monies that we don't really get a say where our tax monies go, how they're allocated, who gets paid what, but there are organizations that should be working absolutely on our behalf. How come they're quiet? We're talking about just the police department. If I'm not mistaken, New York City has the largest police department in the country, or did at one point for many, many years. Am I wrong on that? And now, where is the presence? What we're seeing on the media is not, that's a whole nother conversation, but we're seeing on the media where the police officers are being basically punked, right? They're being taken down. They're not separated at this point from the civilians. We're just asking. It's just a question. We're almost done with this video. As a matter of fact, it's almost completed.
Potential setback for American officials at our southern border. Venezuela has stopped accepting deportation flights from the U.S. and Mexico.
Y'all, listen, that's a lot, right? Definitely a lot to deal with. Hold on one second, y'all. Give me one moment. Okay, thank you. So, no, when you're talking about, I know this picture is bigger and the brush is broader than, like I said, just looking for a new voter base. This is a lot more intentional and a lot more specific to a bigger picture, in my opinion. And so when it comes to these sanctuary cities, if you don't have the option, then please at least position yourself. If you can't leave, or if you can't relocate and you can't separate yourself from the chaos that is going on in a lot of these sanctuary cities. And again, the video also showed that they're not just in New York City. They are infiltrating and have basically established their presence in all of the sanctuary cities. It's just that in New York City, I think it's their home base. I think it's their headquarters for everything that's going on, for all of their organizations, for all of their the way that they are, stealing or utilizing, bringing drugs in, dealing with trafficking. All of that again goes together. You're not going to have one without the other. And so this is where we are. A harsh reality, but it is our reality nonetheless. And so questions is really why, what is the end game? And why are we as the people allowing this to take place and just progress the way that it's progressing? Because it doesn't seem like the powers that be care or willing to do anything to correct it or stop it. That brings me to the next video. There's the police chief did an interview with the news station, and it's a short one, but I do want to I don't want to reiterate his words. I would like for him to speak for himself. But we will see that what he is speaking on remains to be seen, because as of now, it sounds good. It sounds good, but it doesn't seem that it's being implemented on a large scale enough to make a difference, especially to the point where it's hitting the media and changing the narrative that we're seeing right now about the presence and the volatility that is escalating in these sanctuary cities. So hold on just a moment. I'm trying to find the right video. Oh my goodness. I think it's this one.
After two migrants assaulted a security guard. And then a migrant was stabbed to death there earlier this year. Remember that? Adams also changing his tune on the city's sanctuary status as the Big Apple faces a migrant crime wave. Watch.
I don't believe people who are violent in our city and commit repeated crimes should have the privilege of being in our city.
And most people agree with that. Adams' remarks coming after the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley, her accused killer, a Venezuelan national who illegally entered the United States in September of 2022 through El Paso, Texas. ICE says he was arrested in New York City last August, but he was released before ICE could actually issue a detainer. Joining me right now with the facts of what's going on is NYPD Chief of Patrol, John Schell. Chief Schell, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
So before we get off into his commentary, so this man was apprehended, he was charged, and he was released, like I said earlier. Now, what I didn't know was that he came in through the Texas border and ended up in New York. So that sheds some light on why Greg Abbott, in my opinion, was so aggressive and was willing to actually go up against the administration, the current administration, in order to regulate his borders, not close them, but just make the ports of entry to where they have to come through and be properly processed and documented, as opposed to just allowing people to come in looking any old kind of way with no ID, bringing God knows what, smuggling things into this country unsupervised. So yeah. All right, y'all, let's go.
I want to explain, I want to talk to you about what's going on with this. You're seeing a new crime wave. There are 170,000, 175,000 migrants in New York right now. Tell us about this new crime wave that you're experiencing.
Well, what we've been seeing with the migrants and the crime wave, if you will, is robberies and purse snatches on mopeds, which we took care of. We'll talk about it in a moment. We're seeing pickpockets on the train, pickpockets in Times Square. We're seeing domestic violence. And most recently, we're seeing mob-like activity. People going to stores, Bloomingdale's, Sunglass, LensCrafters just the other day, snatching glasses and fleeing the store.
I saw that video of the same thing at an Apple store.
Correct.
They go in like a mob and they just start taking everything.
Correct. So this is what we're seeing right now. But just like any other crew, if you will, a group of people, we don't care who you are. But when the moped robberies and purse snatches were taking effect earlier this year, we arrested all of them. And guess what? We don't see it anymore. So we have some crews with the migrants committing crime. We're going to deal with them like any other crime wave we have and put them in jail. And quite frankly, what the mayor just said, if you come to this country seeking the American dream, and while you're waiting for your status to be upgraded, and you're committing violent crimes against New Yorkers or this country, you should be put in jail. And once that term is over, you forfeit the right to the American dream and get out of our country.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear you talk like this, Chief, because this is exactly how most people feel. It's how I felt when I saw that illegal come out of being processed and give everybody the finger.
Now, I want to highlight this message because this is exactly what I thought when I heard this. Sounds like a little too late. They already here. The alarms have been sounded for months, if not at least a year. And now they're here, and now it's a little too late. And now you want to make public appearances and declarations? I don't know, y'all. Ron D says he got a smile on his face. I don't believe him at all. You know, what is that saying? Believe none of what you hear, little of what you see. I could have that little mixed up, but that's the connotation. It's like you got to really have some discernment and you got to be able to utilize some common sense. Just look at what's going on around you. I always look at people's behavior if it doesn't match with what they say, and I'll pick the behavior every time. But that's just me. Let's continue.
And I'm thinking, why isn't this guy on a plane back to wherever he came from right now? What is he doing, giving us the finger now?
A complete slap on our face. And also gives the migrants who are here who want to seek the American dream, who want to work, who want to contribute, gives them a bad name. We're talking about a small group of people, not the whole 170,000. But we're going to deal with it. And you're not going to harm New York City. You're not going to harm this country. We're going to try to put you in jail like any other group. And like I said, you fought for that right.
Well, the NYPD seems a lot tougher on this. You're dealing with it. You're in the front lines than the judges, than the DAs. Do you think you're resonating? Because I know that as soon as you said this is about no consequences, I noticed all of a sudden we hear a comment from Kathy Hochul. And all of a sudden we start hearing comments from other people. You and your team are doing this every single day. Do you think you're resonating and changing what's going on in terms of the DA level?
Sometimes. Let's talk about recidivism. Okay, I'm not going to give you two critical stats here. We talk about retail theft. In New York City in 2023, 542 people were locked up for theft. Were locked up 7,600 times. How many God's name does this happen? We saw last week the transit conductor sliced on his neck. One more inch, we're having a different conversation, right? Doing his job. Last year, 38 people were locked up for assaulting transit workers, mostly conductors. They were arrested a combined 1,100 times. What is going on? What has changed? I'll tell you what's changed. Bail reform changes. Now, some parts of bail reform is good, but let's talk about discovery. The DAs privately applaud us because discovery thrust upon them, they cannot do their job efficiently. Let's talk about judges. If the judges is not going to accept the bail request for recidivism and let people walk out the door, that's hurting the community. The judges are part of the process. I'm part of the process. The district attorney is part of the process. The judge is part of the process. Our elected officials are part of the process. And if you disagree with what's going on, like most of us do, then the change you want, vote for the change you want. Because pre-2020, we didn't have this issue of recidivism. We could deal with it. Now it's harder and harder. And it's hurting our city. And you want to know why transit crime is up? Recidivism.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so sounds like he is saying that the laws, the system is broken. Whether it was 2024 2020 to previously to 2020, he specifically said prior to 2020, they didn't have those issues. I don't know anything about New York City. I don't know if there's anybody in my chat that that lives in New York or in the area or has family and they have some inside information or facts to kind of substantiate or not what he's saying. But the fact of the matter is that if you reform the bail system with the civilians or the citizens of this country, what do you think is going, how effective do you think any of that's going to be for the migrants and the illegals that come into this country? Again, most of them, they said that the market is the biggest when it comes to false identifications and passports, fake passports. So nobody can be held accountable. It sounds like a modern day purge. It sounds like straight chaos. And nothing is being done about it on a federal level. Nothing. I remember when Greg Abbott pushed up against the current administration and said that he was not going to allow everybody to come in willy-nilly without due process. And the current administration took a major issue with that. Huge. And made it publicly known. That was when it was up for me. I was like, you done showed yourself. Even though you showed yourself before then, you really don't have any recourse on that as far as I'm concerned. So you done showed your hand. Now, what do we do while we're in this situation and things are escalating and evolving? Because obviously we can't depend on the system. We can't depend on the officials. We can't depend on the politicians. None of them seem to be telling us the truth about anything. And if it is, the percentage is so small that it doesn't matter anyway at the end of the day, in my opinion. So I wanted to read Miss Chicago's comment. She said, they've been a little buck wild out here. They really think they're privileged. No, they do. They're entitled. But this country has given them that sense of entitlement. What other country? First of all, you can't go, like, look at Dubai. Look at the young lady that came from this country that went over to Dubai and she was loud, rude, and disrespectful, and her ass ended up in jail. She got locked the hell up. What other country operates like this, where you go into another country and they say, oh, we're just going to give you a place to stay. We're going to give you a job. We're going to give you a means to be able to go to work. and come home. We're going to give you food, not just for you, but for your whole damn family. We're going to give you medical care. We're going to give you everything that your poor little heart desires. Oh, and then while you're at it, you can bring in guns, you can bring in drugs, you can facilitate trafficking. You got sexual assaults, essays being done all over the place, right? What other country operates under these pretenses, allows this? So we're going to invite all of this chaos over here and we're going to pay you to do it. And you mean to tell me that it is too far-fetched to imagine that the powers that be or the officials don't have relationships with the head people in charge coming across there and bringing their organizations, bringing their chaos, bringing their money makers? All of those things I listed are money makers that we go to jail for, we go to prison for, we have to go through due process for. But these people can come over here, do it, and walk out of court with a court date, and if they don't show up, it don't matter no way because you don't know their real name. The few people that they do know, they have to be of enough notoriety from their country and from their native lands. And that's the only way that we get to identify them over here. But as far as all of the people that they're bringing, all of the people that they're influxing, that they're bringing for reinforcement and to do the dirty work, they're going into the courts and coming right out and going about their business. When you have a country with New York being a prime example where the real estate owners don't have as many rights as the squatters, but make all of the investment, have to spend all of their resources and go through such a laborious process in order to even regain control over those properties that they have invested in, purchased, paid taxes on, most cases renovated. What in the world kind of world are we living in, y'all? To where the squatters can go in. Now you got squatters going in and they're making people leave their properties with guns. They are strong arming people out of their homes. It takes nothing for them to manufacture documents to say that they've been in the property for 30 days. So when the police is called and they come, they've gotten rid of all of the evidence, if they even need to, because they have possession of the property. The police officers aren't going to go in and search. They're not going to go through the trouble of going and getting a search warrant through the courts to come in and search to see if you got weapons, drugs, or you done kidnapped somebody against their will and you got them tied up in the house. They're not going to do any of that. So you know what they're going to do? They got the paperwork, now take it through the courts. And again, I did a live on that, and it's known that it takes up to 2 years, or it can take up to 2 years in order for you to, as a homeowner or as a real estate owner, to get those squatters out of your property legally. Chicago also says, I don't know what them people told them, but they are in Chicago like we're the aliens and like we're the immigrants. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. There was another comment that you followed up with. HIV is going up here. Measles are going up here, when a lot of things they are not talking about with these people, because don't forget that they're not the V word on nothing. You talking about issues, it's just stuff like this, talking points of this conversation like we're having, that absolutely makes you feel like this is on purpose. But why? But why? These people wouldn't have the power, the money, the resources, or the wealth that they have if it wasn't for the citizens and civilians of this country, the taxpayers. We don't get a say as to where our money goes. We don't, and you just tell us anything. But then, we have to pay. And if we don't, we have the IRS seizing our assets, taking liens on our properties. They're going to get it one way, hook, crook, or sink. You're going to get it one way or the other. But these people can come over into this country and wreak all this havoc. And for what? For what? We are at risk. We are vulnerable. We have been invaded. And nobody really wants to talk about that until it's already too late. These people are here. Now, there was a content creator that I heard give a potential narrative, and it made my heart sink, but it makes a lot of sense. So one of those potential reasons for this happening is to declare a state of emergency, to shut everything down. Because if you know that when it comes to the elections, it can postpone that election. It can stall it and keep the party that is in power in power. So you can't tell me that politically this is not by design. But how deep does the rabbit hole go? Right? I said that. That's it. That's it. But I'm going to say this. I am a believer. And I'm not a believer of this system. And I'm not a believer in man before God. And when it's all said and done, divine intervention is a term for a reason. Through history, it has been active. And it's been very, very on time every time. It's done what it was designed to do. So what is designed and intended for evil will be turned around for the good of those that serve and love the Lord. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I wish more of us moved in that spirit as opposed to looking at what's right before us. Because if you can't see far past your hand, then you can't see and even glance at what's on the other side. Right? So we have to be able to put faith in things that are bigger than us and ourselves and even one another, because we're all man or woman in this system. So I don't say this and I don't bring this information to light to fearmonger or to instill anxiety or hopelessness. I bring it because it's where we are, and we need to equip ourselves and prepare for what is possible to come. Because even though God will be taking care of business throughout all of this, and the outcome will not be what they intended to be, if you know what I'm saying. But does it mean that we're not going to go through trials and tribulations and sacrifice and suffer before that happens? And so this is where we are. Again, I don't knock and I don't belittle, because I participate in things, in conversations and entertainment that at the end of the day is just that. When it's all said and done and you look at it in the scheme of things of real life. But somebody's got to talk about what is really going on while we're in the midst of entertaining ourselves from time to time. That cannot overshadow, and it cannot overbear, and it cannot overrule things that is going to potentially affect our families for generations to come, depending on what we do, how we move, and how we protect. And we can't do any of that if we're not prepared or if we're not aware of what is actually going on around us outside of our immediate environment. And with that said, I do want to I really kind of don't want to play any more of that particular video because my point was proven with that, right? But there is one more video that I definitely, or news clip that I definitely found value in. If y'all can just give me a second. I'm gonna come off cam and mute just because I need to look for it for a second, but I'll be right with y'all. Let me turn my little music on. Thank y'all for being with me. Hopefully this stream is doing what it was designed to do. I appreciate always the support. I appreciate everybody coming in and engaging in the chat. I appreciate y'all hitting the like button. I do appreciate the financial blessings. I don't want it to seem as if it's not important. It is. I got ADHD and I'll get easily distracted if I start looking at other stuff. But I am going to take a moment to say I appreciate y'all. Thank you so very much for the financial blessings. Miss Yo, thank you. Love you, sis. I appreciate you. And Kelvin, I appreciate you. Kelvin H, thank you for your financial blessing as well. Thank y'all. Okay, hold on a second, y'all. Okay, thank you for your patience. So on this one, it's just this video here is going to give a little more insight on the gang that we've been talking about. So I'll let her tell it. And it's a short video, but it has some really good, valuable information in it that I think would benefit us in the long run to know. All right, y'all.
Well, first of all, I can tell you this. I spoke with ICE today, and ICE confirming that 2 of the suspects in this case are members of a brutal Venezuelan gang. That gang is called Tren de Aragua. Federal authorities saying this is just proof that gang members are making it across the southern border. Wilson Juarez and Kelvin Servida Arocha in court today in Lower Manhattan are members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, according to ICE. The 2 are part of the migrant mob accused of beating and kicking 2 NYPD officers in Times Square last month. ICE telling me today that Juarez should not have even been in the U.S. A judge in El Paso, Texas, ordered him deported a year ago. Now they, along with 5 others in this case, are behind bars at Rikers. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg asking the judge for bail since the suspects have been indicted.
Our criminal justice system did its job. These individuals are all behind bars where they belong.
After their initial arrest, Juarez and Arocha were released without bail by DA Bragg, along with Yorman Reveron and Darwin Gomez Isquiel.
Okay, so while this man is over here hollering and screaming that the criminal justice did his job, this young man right here was the same young man that we saw in an earlier clip where he really did some damage to somebody, and these people are getting released with no bail, but your criminal justice is doing what it's supposed to do. Let's go on. Sometimes I just can't with these people.
Isquiel was arrested again this week and charged with shoplifting at a Macy's in Queens.
They should have never been released. The DA in the case should have requested bail. The judge should have kept him behind bars.
Henry Brito was the only suspect who was sent to Rikers on $15,000 bail after the beating in January. A source telling me that he was released this week after an activist pastor from a Brooklyn church posted his bail. However, he is now back in Rikers while authorities investigate the source of that money. Police body cam video shows the interaction with the officers.
Hold on, y'all.
5 suspects charged in the Times Square attack against 2 NYPD officers are behind bars tonight after facing
Ida Arocha in that Juarez should not have even been in the U.S. A judge in El Paso, Texas, ordered him deported a year ago. Now they, along with 5 others in this case, are behind bars at Rikers. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg asking the judge for bail since the suspects have been indicted.
Our criminal justice system did its job. These individuals are all behind bars where they belong.
After their initial arrest, Juarez and Arocha were released without bail by DA Bragg, along with Yorman Reveron and Darwin Gomez Esquiel. Esquiel was arrested again this week and charged with shoplifting at a Macy's in Queens.
They should have never been released. The DA in the case should have requested bail. The judge should have kept them behind bars.
Henry Brito was the only suspect who was sent to Rikers on $15,000 bail after the beating in January. A source telling me that he was released this week after an activist pastor from a Brooklyn church posted his bail. However, he is now back in Rikers while authorities investigate the source of that money. Police body cam video shows the interaction with the officers and the migrants on January 27th. Officers had instructed the group not to block the sidewalk and to move along. Some of the suspects' lawyers raising questions as to whether police overreacted.
I think it's undisputed that physical contact in this case was initiated by a police officer.
The bottom line is that this individual didn't comply with a New York City police officer.
And also today, DA Bragg released a statement saying that because of his office's thorough investigation, they are going to be able to hold these suspects fully accountable. By the way, the DA's office is still looking for 3 more suspects in this case. Back inside to you.
All right, thanks, Linda.
Ooh-wee. Okay, so again, they're young. They're coming over here single, and that goes in alignment with what Mel W just said. Notice that these aren't hardworking people looking for farming jobs, but young men with no families who are looking to specifically come to the U.S. for the purpose of criminal behavior. You look at the platforms, look at Twitter, look at TikTok. Look at all of these social media venues that are made available for these people, the WhatsApp, for them to organize, for them to communicate, for them to sound the whistle, as Miss Yo said. This is a dog whistle for anyone else to keep up the criminal activities. Absolutely. And there's no consequence. There's just no consequences. These people are committing felonies and they're being released with no bail for a court date hearing that most of them will never attend and go back to, right? Ron D says, I love my babies, but I wish I had the level of maturity I have now because I left them to a country that not only will it protect them, but they don't even care. They won't protect them, but they don't even care about them. No, and definitely. So this is definitely true. However, we just have to take it one day at a time. We have to move with being intentional. We have to think ahead. We have to plan ahead. There are going to be situations that we never encountered before, this being one of them to this degree, y'all, right? There's some stuff to come, and we have to equip ourselves to the best of our ability. I also always suggest and strongly suggest that we create and broaden our communities in our families and outside of our families, and establish others that aren't in our bloodline as families, because we are definitely stronger and more equipped in numbers. Communal thinking is definitely going to get us through, because if you're isolated, or if you feel like you're just on your own and you're doing things alone, you're more vulnerable and you're less equipped. We are definitely stronger and better in numbers, but you definitely want to vet and get with like-minded people. Even if we got together as communities and we put certain amounts, our whatever we have in the pot, in order to acquire plots of land to establish some type of dominion over, to build off of, to become, that's my goal. My goal is to not depend on the grid. That's my goal. And so I'm speaking it into existence, but I'm also sounding the alarm that this is, to me, the best way and the safest way at this point to definitely separate yourselves and to become more self-sufficient like our forefathers and our ancestors were. And we have lost that, and that's been by design as well. And I think as a people, we have gotten very complacent and very lazy. And what are they? There's this saying that you fatten up the pig for the slaughter. And the pig is walking around thinking, oh, every day it's going to be like this. Every day I get to eat as much as I want, how much I want, as frequently as I want. And I don't have to work out. I can walk around fat, ugly, and snorkeling. And my life is just going to end that way, and until they on somebody's plate. Right? So with that being said, y'all, I'll drop the link. I don't know if anybody wants to hit the link or not. Is it even working? Okay. Because this is a conversation definitely bigger than me. And I appreciate the interaction in the chat. Mel says that's what happened with Jamil Shaw's killers. I think I gotta read back a little bit more in order to get the context of that. Miss Yo responded to Rondi and said it does make parents feel hopeless in leaving them in such a cruel world. Nevertheless, teach them how to survive without the luxury as we know it. That's the key. That's the key, is that it really starts with us as the parents. And I know it's a difficult task, especially for older parents or for us people that are considered getting into the elderly generation, because our mindsets are really kind of set in a fashion to where it's not, even though we're in survival mode, it's a different level of survival mode. And that has to shift for the generation to come, because the world as we know it is not going to be the same. And it's already evolving and changing as we know it before our very eyes. And so if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. We have to stay equipped. We have to think ahead again. You have to plan ahead. Survival equipment, techniques, generators, bug out bags, stored food, clean water. And if you can't do a lot, do what you can. This has to be done over time, but just don't wait until the last minute, or by the time something pops off and we don't have electricity, or the water sources have been tainted. By then it's too late. And you don't want that. You really don't want that. So I don't want to belabor the point. I know that a lot of people probably are going live. I wanted to go ahead and get this out this morning. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate y'all coming through and spending the most valuable thing that you'll have to offer or to share, and that's your time. Much love to everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for everybody again that definitely blessed me financially in the platform. It's truly appreciated. Much love. And y'all enjoy the rest of your day. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Go ahead, honey. Go ahead. Come on, go do your bit. Go outside. Hey, Mr. Kimmy. Go ahead, Penny. Hey,
Hey, thank you
Look,
for.
I just
I'm
want to
sorry. I didn't think nobody wanted to hit. I was just gonna keep it moving, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I was so busy trying to get my penny girl outside, but she come popping her little tail in, and I was trying to jump on the live, so I'm on my phone.
Oh, you good?
I just wanted to say, first of all, how you doing? Everything okay?
I'm good. It's good to see you always.
Yes. This is such a good and interesting live stream because, like you said, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on YouTube, and we're doing a lot of concentrating on stuff like that. But what we're missing is what's happening right underneath our noses that can really affect our real life, like right now, you know. And I was thinking about what Ron D said. He has a really good point. It's a whole lot of parents, I'm sure, feeling some type of way about, like you said, being older maybe, and having these babies. And, most of the time, the parents outlive the children. And so you would think, wow, what kind of legacy I'm leaving my babies when I'm gone? What's going to happen to them when I'm away from here? How are they going to be protected? Well, I want you guys that's listening to this to fear not, because once you start teaching your children how to stop dependent on things like the luxuries of things that they're used to, the stuff that like we may have grew up on, like these nice clothes that we were told that we should buy, or this real nice house with a whole bunch of furniture, with designer furniture and all that kind of stuff, and teach them how to do something like this. You see? Because I made it a point. You see all this stuff on this shelf?
Canning, yeah.
I have this all over my house, and I can my own food and grow my own food. And I'm saying, if you parents don't know how to do it, teach your children how to do it. I don't care how much research you need to do on it. I have plenty of videos that show you how to can and do your own food, right? Okay, so teach them things like that. Go on camping trips where y'all out in the woods instead of going to Disney World and like places like Kings Dominion, riding on roller coasters and stuff. Take them to the woods. Rent an Airbnb if you have to for a 3-day weekend or whole week. They're on a spring break now. Take them out there with little food, right? And give them a little bit of money to go in the grocery store and see if they can buy that little groceries to last for that whole week that y'all on y'all little camping trip. Teach them how to make it. It's little things that you can do. So when you're not here, it'll trigger their thought on how to survive in the future if you're missing, or if this world is even crazier when you're not here to help them. It's just little stuff like that. So don't feel helpless. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just wanted to add that in there.
No, I'm so glad you did, because this is what I mean by numbers, right? This is what I mean by, because we all have something to offer that another person is lacking in.
Yes.
Education, you have experience, you have something very valuable that is definitely needed now, and it's going to be needed even more so in times to come.
Yeah.
And we have to reintroduce these types of concepts back into our families and into our children.
Right.
And because it's up to them. But it's also up to us to provide them with that information. So I'm so glad that you were able to contribute that information, because that I've been watching you do that for almost 4 years now.
Yeah, yes. And some of this food right here, some of this food that you're looking at, this is in 2020. 2020, I still have food all over the place. And I want to tell you guys too, if you don't know how to grow your stuff, okay, just make it a point to try to learn. But if you're going to the supermarkets and you're buying food, like say for instance, this bag of potatoes right here. See this bag of potatoes? A regular bag of potatoes, and put it in the light. You go to the supermarket, get a bag of potatoes. Let's see if you can see it. All right. You take one of these potatoes out this bag. Hold on, let me get the potato out the bag. I'm gonna show y'all something real easy. It's a little simple stuff. Take a potato. And then what I want you to do with this big old potato, take a potato like this that you get from the supermarket and you buy from the store, put it in a brown paper bag and let it stay in there for about maybe a week to 2 weeks. Soon you're going to see the eyes on these potatoes come, like those little white prickly things going to come on this potato. When they do, you cut them off. And then what you do, you let it set out for a couple of days to dry, then you plant it in your garden. And before you know it, you're going to have a whole bag of these in your daggone backyard. See, it's stuff like that you can do. So you don't have to be totally dependent on the supermarkets and stuff to eat. You know, once you get started is what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, it's a lot that we could talk about on here, and I don't want to tap your live stream because it was a good one, and I don't want to belabor your point. You know what I'm saying?
No,
so, yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad you did, because even though I offer generalized solutions, you brought it to life. You brought it into our visual, and you made it very tangible and easy and simple, because it really is at the end of the day.
Just
but psychologically, a lot of us can't tap in because we haven't been taught that, Miss Yo.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, that's true too. For some reason, I think I have to remember that everybody have different backgrounds of how they were raised and stuff. Then I also have to take in consideration the generations of a gap maybe in between. So I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, well, Dad, you should know that, right? You know, people should know. I be thinking that and not realizing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm gonna tell you something else. Hold on, I just can't help it.
No, go ahead. You got the floor.
Okay,
go
ahead, so I want to tell you about this. Okay, you see these eggs? These are eggshells. When you go to the grocery store, save your eggshells, right? Okay, you know you can use your eggshells to brush your teeth with. Do you know that you can brush your teeth? You don't need toothpaste. You can brush your teeth with eggshells, grind them up, brush your teeth with them. And then you also can see how this look when it's ground up?
Yeah.
You can also put this in warm water and drink it. And guess what it does? It helps with the calcium in your body. It helps replenish your bones. So if you have any chipped bones in your body, it helps with all of that. All you do is go to the supermarket and get the best grade eggs you can get and eat your eggs like you regularly do and save the shells, grind them up, and you can use them for multiple uses. Okay.
Now, when you said to put warm water in it, and when you grind them up, they dissolve?
You grind them in your blender as fine as you can get it. You can ground it down to a powder. So it'll be just like you know them BC powders?
Yes.
That's how the eggshells will be.
Okay. All right.
You put them in a little cup of warm water, a little short cup of warm water, and you just drink it. Yes. I'm trying to tell you, it's a whole lot of different things that you can do that, you know, that's more than multiple uses and to still be healthy. Okay. So that's another thing.
How would you feel about once a week us collaborating and it doesn't matter whose platform it's on, and you doing a weekly informational live?
Oh, that'd be cool.
30 minutes to an hour, because you know our attention spans are super short, but nowadays, that's all
we can do it. I got more herbs and stuff.
Okay.
We can definitely do it. Yeah.
Put the one in the chat if you down, if you will participate and be present with all of this valuable information Miss Yo got, because you just taught me some stuff I definitely didn't know, and I ain't got no shame in saying it, but I'm so grateful that now I've been informed, and because I never knew anything. Now I have been seeing on the eggshells, they're good for fertilizing plants.
That too. I got a video where I showed them how you can put them in your garden along with coffee grounds and the regular coffee that you drink every day. But these are a whole bunch of different herbs right here too that you can use to heal your body. It's a lot of stuff that we can do, and I would be glad to do that with you. Happy to do it. My pleasure.
Okay.
So you let me know when, and I'll be right there with you.
All right, that sounds like a plan. We'll definitely get and collaborate to see what your schedule, what will work good
Yeah.
for your schedule, because I'm
Okay.
pretty flexible, and then we'll get a time going. So if
All
you
right.
haven't caught the replay, everybody, I love the way that this live stream has ended, because it ended with possible solutions.
I'm gonna let
But
y'all see that while you
yeah,
talking.
and is that garlic, Miss Mo,
All,
at the top?
these are white potatoes. This is string beans and
Oh, okay,
white
I can see it
potatoes,
now.
pickles, jalapeno peppers,
Now,
all kinds of stuff.
do
Look
you
at that.
store it in vinegar, or is it water, or how? What is?
I do vinegar. It depends on what I'm cooking. I mean, what I want to store. It could
Okay.
be vinegar. It could be water. It could be sugar. So
Okay.
yeah, but majority of the time, I still have jam in here. This is mango jam, child. What y'all talking about? This was in 2020 in July, honey, child, please. I'm just telling y'all. Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Kima. Here's my potato. Look. This is one of my sweet potatoes that I did from the grocery store. You bought it from the grocery store. You see these
Yes.
things on them that's growing, the eyes on them that's growing.
Yep.
This
You
is when
just
you
flick
plant
that
them.
off and you let it dry out, and then you plant it.
Or you can plant the whole thing, just one whole one like this. And
That's
it'll
what
grow
my
your own
grandmother
one.
used to do.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
She would put the
So,
whole thing in there.
oh, yeah. So, yeah, we can do that, Mr. Kima. I think that'll be a good idea so we can teach the people. Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
just let me know when, and then we'll get together and get that figured out, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Because we got some ones in the chat for sure, so we
cool.
can
Okay.
definitely.
Good. That's good. Okay,
Yes.
so y'all don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Mr. Kimi's channel and support that Cash App because she's not monetized yet. We want to get her there. We want to get her subscriber count up. Let's do it, y'all.
I
Okay.
appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Miss
Kimi.
Yo.
I'm gonna talk to you later, okay?
Okay,
Y'all
yes.
have a good day, chat.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. I'm glad that's the way the live stream concluded. Ms. Yo is the bomb. If y'all have not subscribed, please. Can somebody drop the link to Ms. Yo in my chat, please? Also, hey Bolo, hey babes, if definitely put yours to your new backup channel in the chat as well. Hey Ballhead Wayne, I'm sorry, did I miss you? Hey, good to see you. Monique Hills in the place. T-Mo, what's going on with y'all? Peace and blessings to everybody. I know we had a little hiccup because I was trying to end this live, child, and I saw her. I saw Miss Yo in the back chat, and I was like, "Yay!" Because I know she getting ready to drop some knowledge. She can tell you. Yes. So I definitely want to get with her. Because I can definitely I have knowledge and experience in herbs too, and I'm going in some herbs, so I'm definitely going to start implementing that. That's why I would like to collaborate with her, because I think collectively we can teach the people a lot, and that'll give me the boost that I need. You're not a mod on? Oh, okay, on this one you're not a mod. All right, hold on. Hold on. Oh Lord. Look, I went from trying to mod you to I deleted you. Lord Jesus, be offense. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, Bolo. You should be good. Hold on for a second, y'all. Let me make some adjustments over here. So yeah, I think collectively we can definitely add some value and some information that we're really going to need, y'all. And if you know, then definitely I invite you, and I'm sure she don't mind for you to hit the link, because we'll drop the link, and we can all do this as a community, because there's definitely going to be things that each one of us is going to know that will teach someone else, right? So definitely make this a communal effort, a community effort, and it doesn't have to be a long, I want to do it. I would love to do it weekly, and if it gains momentum, and people demand it more, then we can increase the amount of the times of the week that we can do it. But it's needed. it's needed. Definitely want to be able to present solutions to potential issues and problems, but I just wanted people to know exactly what we're dealing with right here and now, what is potentially affecting us advertently as well as inadvertently, and then we'll learn how to move accordingly, right? And so, yes, Bolo's backup channel is in the chat. Miss Yo Thoughts is in the chat. If you haven't subbed up to either one of those, please go do so. Support, support, and support. And with that being said, y'all, I'm pretty much. I know I'm missing something. Every time I get off a live, I be like, I should have said that. I forgot to say that. Yang, 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 yang. Trying to be so doggone official and to the letter, and not realizing sometimes that it's just the flow. It'll take care of itself, right? So I'm still working on that. But I want to thank everybody for being here. Hey, Jaga, what's going on? Thank you for stopping in. If y'all haven't been able to watch the entire live stream, please go watch the replay. I think we need to be aware, we need to be conscious, and we need to be in a position to say, okay, I got to get serious about some things, or the time that I thought that I had to do this or to do that, I don't necessarily have that kind of time that I thought I did. So maybe I need to jump on this, today instead of next year, right? Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So do watch the replay. I will be putting the links to the videos that I did play in the chat. In the description. I will do that after the live is over, so you can have it for your full reference. Even though we kind of went through most of them, it's still available to you. So with that being said, everybody, I am done this time. I'm going to head on out. I appreciate everybody. Hey, Cortez. Thank you for being. It's good to see you. I'm going to go back and look at your replay of your first live. Congratulations. Bolo, can you put Cortez's link into the chat as well, please? And if y'all have not subbed up, please go sub up to Cortez Entertainment. And definitely, and I wish I had seen the whole live. I saw the very end, but when I clicked in, you were signing off. So, but I know it was a banger. I already know, because Cortez is such a knowledgeable. I never would have thought you were as young as you are, based on how wise you are at your age. So salute to you. Thank you. Yeah, look at Bolo laughing. Yes, indeed. So if you can just drop that in the one of my mods can find, or Cortez, you're a mod, you can post your own link in the chat as well. That way, like I said, if y'all haven't subscribed, or there you go, thank you, Bolo, to Cortez, please go do so. You won't regret it, right? So I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Miss Alexandra. If I didn't speak to you, beautiful, I'm speaking to you now. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Alexandra, for always being so present and such a support. Miss Yo, my chat, all of the people that support me and do it genuinely. I appreciate all of y'all. And with that being said, Miss Akimi is out. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next chat. All right? All right, y'all. Okay, I'm going to do my outro one more time. Don't nobody else hit the link. Bye, y'all.